Okay, let's look at more SAT math prep examples. So this question gives us two equations. It says the solution to the given system equation is x comma y. What is the value of y? So in order to solve this, we have to use systems of linear equations. The easiest thing to do, because if we look at these equations, notice how we have y both the same, which means as long as we make one of these equations negative, we could add them down and end up canceling out the y. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply this by -1. So I have negative 24x minus y is equal to negative 48. And then I'm going to rewrite my next one. And then I'm adding them down. So negative 24 plus 6x is going to be negative 18x. The y's are going to cancel. And then negative 48 plus 72 is going to be 24. Okay, I need to solve for x, so I'm going to divide both sides by negative 18. So 24 divided by negative 18. I can go ahead and simplify this into a fraction. I guess that would be the easiest. So negative 24 over 18. Divide both by 6. So let's see, x is equal to negative 6 over 3. Oh, I said divide both by 6 and I wrote negative 6 instead of negative 4. This is a negative 4. Okay, 4. Or if you were getting decimals, this would be negative 1.33 repeating. So that is your x value. So in order to find your y value, you need to plug in that x value into one of the equations. So I'm going to go ahead and use 6x plus y is equal to 72. Plug in x of negative 4 over 3. So 6 times negative 4 over 3 plus y equals 72. So 6 times that negative 4 is negative 24 divided by 3 is negative 8 plus y is equal to 72. Add the 8 to the other side, so I get y is equal to 72 plus 8, which is 80. Let's look at another example. Another way you could do this is, if you have Desmos, just plot both of these equations and see where they intercept, and the y value is going to be the second number. So remember, it's always x comma y. Okay, the next example says line T in the xy plane has a slope of negative 1/3 and passes through the point 9, 10. Which equation defines the line T? So this value right here, that negative 1/3, is the slope, which means that should be the number next to x. So it can't be A, it can't be B, and that leaves me with C and D. So remember, negative 1/3 x is the same as saying negative x over 3. Okay, this just combined it into one fraction. So far C and D are good. Then it says passes through the point 9, 10. So there's two ways you could do this. You could use this slope and this point and do the point slope formula. So y minus y1 is equal to mx minus x1. Plug everything in and solve. So I'll show you that part first. So y minus 10 is equal to negative 1/3 x minus 9. Distribute that negative 1/3. So y minus 10 is equal to negative 1/3 x. Negative 1/3 times negative 9 is going to be the same as 9 divided by 3, so that's plus 3. And then you add the 10 over, y is equal to negative 1/3 x plus 13. Okay, so right away we know it's going to be D. Or another way you could do this is just plug in 9 for x and 10 for y and see if you get a true statement. So for example, still looking at D, I have 10 is equal to negative 9 over 3 plus 13. So 10 is equal to negative 3 plus 13. 10 is equal to 10. Okay, so two ways you could go about plugging it in and finding the answer, or using the point slope formula. Okay, next example says for a certain rectangular region, the ratio of its length to its width is 35 to 10. If the width of the rectangular region increases by 7 units, how must the length change to maintain the ratio? Okay, so this says ratio of length to width, so length over width. Okay, so if I do 35 over 10 is equal to, and it says the width increases by 7. Okay, so the width is on the bottom, so 10 plus 7 is 17. What must this value be? And so I'm going to use the butterfly method and cross multiply. So I have 10x is equal to 35 times 17. Let me go ahead and pull that up. 35 times 17 is 595. So 10x is equal to 595. Divide by 10, I get x is equal to 59.5. So it's not asking us what the new value is. It wants to see how much it has to increase. So I take the length, which was 35, and I subtract it from 59.5. Okay, because remember, this is my new length. Okay, this is my old length. Okay, so I'm going to do 59.5 minus 35. This is going to give me the difference between the two, which is 24.5. So right away I cross off C and D. And then in order to maintain the same ratio, it started at 35 and then went to 59.5, which means it increased by 24.5. So B is the answer. Okay, let's look at another problem. It says the function f of x is equal to the following, models the value in dollars of a certain bank account by the end of each year from 1957 through 1972, where x is the number of years after 1957. Which of the following is the best interpretation of f of 5 is approximately equal to 243 in this context? So first off, we know this function is measured in dollars, okay? And this 5 is representing 5 years after 1957. So 1957 plus 5 is 1962. Okay. And then it says is approximately equal to 243. So we're going to say that 5 years from 1957, okay, the amount of money that was in the account was 243. So now looking at all our answers, let's go ahead and read through them. The value of the bank account is estimated to be approximately $5 greater in 1962 than 1957. Okay, so X is the number of years, so this is X, so it's not 5 years greater, they're saying $5 greater, so it can't be A. B says the value of the bank account is estimated to be approximately $243 in 1962. That one sounds the most correct so far. C says the value in dollars of the bank account is estimated to be approximately 5 times greater. Okay, so this is again saying that this 5 is representing dollars, but we know that 5 is X and X is years, so it can't be C. And then D says the value of the bank account is estimated to increase by approximately $243 every 5 years between 1957 and 1962. So this one is saying that every 5 years it's going to increase. Okay? If we look at this problem, this is a exponential, okay? One of those that are talking about the interest rate and how something is increasing that way. If this was saying to increase by $243 every 5 years, that means if we were to, let's say, do f of 10, we would have another increase of 243. F of 15, another increase of 243. When all this is saying is that X is 5 years after 1957, which means from 1957, when they initially invested their money, it was 206. After 5 years, it went up to 243, which means our correct answer is B.